Hey guys, this is Trevor Bowden again, your real estate agent here in Ogden. Uh, I'm with EXP Realty now. Hopefully that stays the case, but if not, the service should stay the same. EXP is a really good company, and hopefully I'll get to keep on with them. But today I want to do a video basically on the overall picture or the overall buying process from start to finish, and just kind of the best way to get a game plan for your next purchase of a house. Um, so if you're wanting to sell, what I want to explain today is if you're looking to sell, how to map out how to get in the next house, and you're probably going to want to know as a customer, how much is my monthly payment on the next house going to be? How much can I get out of this house that I'm in right now? So the best way to explain that to you, honestly, if you just call an agent, we don't get paid unless we help you buy or sell something, so it really doesn't matter. Uh, we could do it really quick for you. But if you want to, nowadays everyone's kind of hands on and kind of wants to know everything. I do the same thing. You want to know everything before you kind of jump in, and it kind of makes you feel more comfortable about the process. Let's go over that real quick. I'll just use some examples and do some screen shares to kind of give you an idea of what the process would look like. So let's go ahead and do it. So share screen. Okay. So what you want to do, let's start with the calculator first. So let's say you bought a house here in Ogden. Well, it can be wherever, but let's suppose Ogden, because in 2014, 15, 10, let's call it 2015, 10 years ago, houses were around 100K for entry level 3-bedroom houses. Most. Obviously, there was better stuff at 160, 200, whatever. But let's suppose you bought a $100,000 house 10 years ago. You haven't refinanced it, and you're kind of curious, well, what do I owe on it? And what's it worth? So let's start off with what you owe on it. Easiest way to do that would be to look it up on just wherever you make your payments. But if that's not an option for you, I would highly suggest, sorry about that, I should probably clear my tabs off, but I don't. So what a website I like to use, I had it open, but let's reopen it for you guys. Whatever. Let me clear these off really quick. Okay. So you go bankrate.com. I have it kind of saved already, but mortgage calculator. Say you're on the front page of it. Basically, you want to look for this little guy here that says mortgage calculator. Maybe if I take off my pen, I can circle it. So this guy right here that I'm highlighting in blue, that'll be your mortgage calculator. And then if for whatever reason you have a different opening page, look for where it says mortgages and then click mortgage calculator. I like Bankrate. It doesn't ask you to sign up for if you ask for a loan for them or any kind of further stuff, they'll ask for your info. But just for this mortgage calculator, it doesn't ask for any info like your name, address, or name, email address, phone number. They're not trying to sell you. They do want to sell you stuff. They'll definitely sell you some mortgages, as you can see down here. And they are recommended by NerdWallet, so they can't be that bad. But anywho, basically what I'm coming to this page for is, say you can't find how much you owe on your mortgage and you want to just kind of get a guess. You can tell me and I can figure it out. And as long as you know you haven't refinanced, we can figure it out pretty quick. But let's suppose you don't know and you want to find out. So you did $100,000 loan, 2015. Let's suppose you put for this example, you put 3% down payment. And then if you don't remember what the interest rate was back in 2015 or whenever you bought, just say whatever, it's not set up. So what was interest rate in 2015? Come on, I know what I mean. What was the 30-year interest rate? I love this. Check in. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Oh, because I got the microphone hooked up, that's why. What was the I know I bought back then, so I know it's 5 to 6%, but for the sake of this video, let's show you. What was the 30-year? And our example, we said 2015, for example. So if you don't remember, it'll just pull it up. 30-year mortgage rate average between 3.85 and 3.99. So there you go. 2015. Dang, I got robbed. My rate was like 5% back then. I probably had not that good a credit at the point or something. I don't know. But anywho, whatever the average is back then, it's probably close to around what you got. I know I had a point or two added on because I didn't put a down payment. But yeah, let's call it 4%. Because there it was saying 3.99. So we got this $100,000 loan, $3,000 down payment, which is 3%, 30 years, 4%, and you just come down here, push update, and that'll give you roughly what your monthly payment is. You probably already know what your monthly payment is, but if you're plugging in all these numbers with what you thought your interest rate was, what you paid for the house, and what your down payment was, and your monthly payment's way different, like way off, if it's not even close, then we probably need to go back to square one and look into it a little more. Yeah, but this isn't what we want. We want here, if you look over here, there's this payment breakdown and there's this amortization. We were on payment breakdown, so we'll come over here to this one that says amortization. And we said you got the loan 10 years ago. So over here, you're gonna walk this thing over 10 years. I wish there was a little cooler way to do it, but let's just go to 2035. And your loan balance, well, I think it was October when they started this loan. September. If I can get it, come on. Maybe with the pen it'll be easier. Oh no, that's way crazier with the pen. So let's see, February, March, April, May, June, July, September, October 2030. There we go. Sorry about that. So the loan balance you see down here in the dark blue at 10 years in would be $76,000. And it's got 3 lines: principal paid, interest paid, loan balance. This is an amortization schedule. This is how the principal, interest, and loan balance on a 30-year bank loan work. Okay. You can kind of just read it over and kind of get the idea. But you see, principal paid was $20,000. Oh shoot, we lost it. Oh no, it's still there. Principal paid was $20,000. Interest paid was $35,000, and loan balance $76,000. So now you know you owe $76,000 on the home. If you've been keeping a good idea of what your house is worth, and you know that $100,000 house can now sell for $350,000, or let's say you bought really good and your house is worth $400,000 now. Now you know what to subtract. You got to take $76,000 out of what you're going to sell for. If you don't know what your house value is, and you want a good estimate of it, we can do what's called a comparative market analysis. where we get recent solds that are similar to your house and use those to compare what your probable value of your house is in the market right now. And that'll get you a really good estimate of where you need to be listed at to get your property to sell with current market conditions. Okay. So hopefully that's not boring you, but anyway, so now you know you owe $76,000 on your $100,000 house, given that you haven't refinanced or pulled any more money out during the term of the loan. So that's a pretty good spot to be in if you're saying you got a $400,000 house. Let's go back to the calculator. So say you have a $400,000 house. Should I bring up my notepad? Yeah, probably real quick. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. So, see if I can do a new one. Okay. So your cost is, so you're at 400. Oh, come on. This thing's going to be a pain. Okay. So 400,000 is what you're thinking you can sell your house for. You owe 76,000 on it right now. So you'd think that would be just a straight up subtraction, right? Just 3, a 10, that makes it 9, sorry. So that's 4, 9, 7, that's 2, that's 3, minus nothing. So you're thinking you're gonna take home 324,000. That would be nice, but that's not the case. There's a lot of fees that come with selling the house that are gonna bring that number down. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. It's kind of just, you got to crack some eggs to make an omelet kind of thing. So what you're going to subtract out of that are the bank is going to charge 2% to close the loan. Close loan. Title company. Let's call it title work. They're going to charge 0.5%, 1 to 0.5% of the sell value for the title work they do, which is basically them assuring the new buyer that your title's clean, that you have the right to sell it, and that you're selling it voluntarily, and there's no other liens on the house that will cause you problems when you buy the house. So 2% to the bank, 0.5%, and then realtor fees for our hard work to help you get the house sold for the most amount of money. You know, this is negotiable, but standards around 3%. Before, you used to put, the seller would separate the seller realtor fees and the buyer realtor fees. Now you can't do that. Now it's just, as a seller, you just look at what you're willing to pay your real estate agent, and the buyer, if they want to try and get us to pay for it, they can ask, but it's not necessary to do the deal anymore. So you have the bank at 2%, you got the greedy real estate agents at 3%, and you got title at 0.5%. So that gives you 5.5%. So you're gonna take 1 minus 0.055, and that'll give you the percentage of the total that you want to apply. But anyways, that's what? It's not 9.5, that's 9.45. So that's going to be 0.945. That's going to be your multiplier for you to find out what you're going to get for your actual house. So you get the 400,000. So you sell it at what you thought you'd get, and that's 400,000. So you go 400,000 times 0.945. And what that does is it basically takes out that 5.5% in fees in the equation, and that would be, let's see, times by 9.45. So to your 400,000, you'll receive 378,000. Let's go back to the notes. So there you would take, you're gonna let me scroll down more. Yeah. So that would give you 378. About that. So that gives you $378,000. And now you can subtract, I want to say, what was that, the 76,000 you owe on it? Give me that tab again. So that was, you owed, well, I scrolled through it, but yeah, it was 76. I remember what it was. So that's when you minus your 70. It was 76 and some change, but let's just call it 76. So minus 76,000, that gives you 302,000. 76. That is that right? I'm not gonna look like a buzzing, but yeah. Okay. I thought it was. Anywho, let's go back to that. So now with that, you know you're gonna net $302,000 because you got your house that you bought at 100,000 10 years ago. That's now worth 400,000. You owe 76 on it right here, and after selling it for 400,000 and taking out the fees, the 5.5%, you got this number here, and then you subtracted the actual 76,000 you owe, and that gives you 302,000. Well, what's the point of doing all this? Well, now you can go back to that mortgage calculator and look at product. If you're going to apply all this money that you get into your new house, you can lower your payment so this new higher interest rates that we have nowadays aren't going to hurt you as much, and you can roll this equity into a much bigger, much nicer house and still keep the payments relatively painless, let's say. So let's go back to that bank rate. So now that you know you're going to pocket 300,000, and this is an ideal example. I know a lot of times people refinance, or maybe you don't have this much equity, but this is the example we're going with, okay? So you went from a $400,000 house. If you're gonna make all this movement and do something, I mean, 300 or 400,000 to 500,000 is you're gonna see a very nice jump in quality of house. But let's say you're even gonna go even crazier, or you want like something real nice. Let's say you want to start looking at $600,000 houses, and you want to put that $302,000 into it. 302. That's like 50% down, which is nice. You can do it. Let's say 2 days. Mortgage rates. Come on. What's the 30-year rate? Okay, right now the 30-year rate's between 6.7 and 6.8. Yeah, let's call it. Pull up one more. 6.74, 6.55 for today. The current average fixed mortgage interest rate is 6.55. If you're looking to refinance, okay, yeah, 6.55. Let's use that. Okay, so that's what we plug in here. 6.55, and this will give us a payment on a $600,000 house with that $302,000 down payment. So this will kind of give you an idea with what you can afford. You can kind of plug and play. If you want to model out what a $700,000 house would look like with that kind of down payment, come here, put 700,000. Unfortunately, it changes the numbers down below, but just kind of remember what you're plugging in. You want to put down 302, 655 interest. So that's a $3,000 payment. Maybe that's something you could do now with your new wages, something that you couldn't do in the past. Maybe that's too high. And you see that's too high and you're liking what that $600,000 house payment was looking like over here. Hold on just a second. At $2,300 a month, that might make more sense. So what I'm trying to show here is just get an overall picture of what kind of equity, and be realistic on what your house is worth, and let the agent not force you, but guide you a little. Definitely push back on the price. And but when you try and assess the value of your house, try and look at it as if you were a new buyer and compare it to other product and what you think someone realistically would pay for your house. That's the best way to look at it. And assuming you get that number right, you can have a really good guess of what you can get into and what kind of payment you can get in the next house. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Just kind of have a good plan. Just map this out, and there's no problem. I don't see why this is should be any problem for anyone or any agent to just sit down and instead of just saying, "Hey, let's sell your house. Let's sell your house. Let's sell your house." What's the point of selling your house and then scrambling to get into something that you might not like at a payment that you might not like just because you kind of feel hurried and rushed in the process? No, I don't think that should be the case. Yeah, when it's time to sell, we should sell and get it done. And, because you found a good house that you want to get into and you want to sell your house to get this really good product that you already have a really good idea of how much you're going to be paying for it. I think that's the best plan, to focus on the whole thing instead of just trying to look at selling. Okay, now let's go look and buy. No, let's look for what you like, knowing with a really good guess of what you're going to have. And I think that's the best way. And the more information you give to your real estate agent, obviously get one you can trust. Feel free to reach out if you want to work with me, and we'll just walk through these numbers and see, what a good plan looks like for you. It's not everyone's moving up in house size. Some people want to downsize. Maybe you want to take your equity and move into a smaller house. Maybe your living situation is different, where you can go into a bachelor pad now, and you want to take your money from your sale and not have a mortgage, and buy into something that's free and clear. Just with all that equity. Yeah, let's just I'll say that just if you want to do this on your own, go through this video. Look, hopefully I went slow enough and explained well enough that you could do this on your own. But if you feel you can't, just feel free to give me a call or text or message, and I'll help walk you through this and just kind of get you where you can kind of map out your sell and buy strategy to get the most value and get you into the best product when you do decide to move and you do want to get into that new house. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. If you have any questions or you have any suggestions for videos or something you want to see, just let me know in the comments. Reach out, text me, call me, do whatever you need to do. If you do decide to work with me, I work hard to keep your interests in mind and not mine. That's part of a responsibility as an agent. I think some agents unfortunately do forget that. Most, I would say though, most are doing most are working hard to get their clients the most, but unfortunately there's also some bad apples out there that fortunately probably don't think will last very long in this business. But but who knows? But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully this video made sense and helped you make a better decision on moving forward or not moving forward. Hey, thanks guys. Have a good one.